And we're live. Hello, everybody.
Hey everyone. Happy Sunday night, everyone. Happy daylight savings time. Is everyone here or is everyone going to show up an hour off?
Oh, that'll be awkward.
Yeah. Does anyone out there still think it's 8 p.m.?
My
Or, I
brain
mean,
does.
and in Europe, and a lot of places in the world, they do not follow our daylight savings craziness. So they have no idea.
Oh, Michael's here.
Today's
Yeah.
your birthday, and I didn't even Brittany. Today's your birthday, and I didn't even get you a cake.
No, tomorrow's my birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, then I have a whole day.
Yeah, tomorrow. Thank you, Rodney. Uh, it's the second birthday I've spent in quarantine.
Woo!
Woo! And happy
But
Disneyland
but
closing anniversary for me.
but you got a pretty great birthday present,
I
early birthday
did.
present.
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Drew,
Hey
what's up?
Drew.
Tired like
No.
it's 10 p.m. Aren't we all?
Right?
Yes. Thank you so much, Nickel. Thank you, Cool Daddy. Woo. Yes. Thank you, Kat. I'll be doing this, except not the podcast, but just like sitting in front of a computer. Uh,
Matt's not giving you your birthday off. He's making you work.
I didn't ask for it off, mostly just because I forgot.
Yeah, next weekend. Oh, yeah, next weekend is going to be real busy for comic fanboys, that's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, the
And
initial
girls.
the social embargo ended today for the Snyder Cut, and I
Oh.
was surprised to see it mostly positive.
So that means all the people who saw it instead of Tom and Jerry when it leaked are now allowed to say so?
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess so. I
I
didn't
mean,
get
it
to see that,
it
but I
can't possibly be worse than the original cut. Like any little improvement is going to be like a miracle, right?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, though I saw someone say that it's the best DC film since The Dark Knight, and I wanted to be like, that's Birds of Prey erasure, because that's a good movie.
I I liked Birds of Prey. I didn't love it quite as much as I wanted to. I think there's a great movie hiding in there. Um,
Seems to
but
be
that
the
could be
case with a
another
lot of
conversation. Yeah.
DC movies.
Yeah.
We were pushing 60, but then half of you
Who?
guys left. What the heck?
Well,
Come
maybe
back.
they did not like us talking about the Snyder cut apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Well, I guess we should start then before
I
we
guess
offend
before
anyone
we have no
else.
one left.
All right. In
Let's do
three,
it.
two.
Two.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 78 of the Attractions Podcast. I'm Brittany,
And I'm Seth.
and we're here to talk to you about the latest and greatest in theme park news and more, as well as what's going on in our own lives. Seth, how have you been this week?
I've been so great. Thank you for asking. You might remember our dear beloved cat passed away a few weeks ago, and while we could never replace him, we did adopt a couple new cats from a shelter this week, and they have taken over my life in the last 48 hours, and I love it. It's really wonderful. They're kittens, and they're just perfect. But I also got to do something kind of cool. I went down to International Drive to Icon Park and went to Moobies.
Oh, yeah.
This is a pop-up restaurant for fans of Kevin Smith's Skewniverse films like Clerks and Dogma and Jay and Silent Bob. And so I paid a ridiculous amount of money for pretty good fast food and some souvenirs. And I gotta say, it is definitely for the hardcore Kevin Smith fans, but for me, totally worth it. And they've just extended it through I think the 25th of the month. So if you're into the Jay and Silent Bob movies and you're in Orlando, definitely Google it, check it out.
I watched View from the Cheap Seats. I watched his vlog of it. It looked like so
Okay.
much fun, and Kevin Smith was just there with his
Uh,
mom.
Yeah, so the word is the first day and maybe part of the second day, Kevin Smith was there, and also Brian O'Halloran, who's Dante Hicks in the Clerks films. He was there. He's down here doing a retro convention. But I had a late appointment on Saturday night, and by the time I got there, there was no one famous there.
Oh,
But that's okay because I still had a good time.
yeah. Did you get to I know they had specially brewed 4 packs or 6 packs. Did you get any of those?
I did not. I did get a moonshine cocktail,
Ooh.
themed cocktail, and I also got a perfectly ordinary Coca-Cola in a very expensive cardboard cup. We
Nice.
won't talk much about the $29 chicken sandwich. It was the best
Oh
20.
my
It
god.
was the best $29 chicken sandwich I've ever had. However, I'm not so sure about the 10-15% in ticketing fees and online fees and service charges. So that's another conversation. But
Right.
hey, I have given Kevin Smith a lot of money over the years. This is honestly just a drop in the bucket. I'm fine with it. I'm cool.
Maybe they should just like send him a cut of your paycheck every week.
I mean, it's been, I've been seeing his movies, paying to see his movies since like 1994, and bought a lot of merch over the years and conventions and stuff. So, yeah, how am I going to stop now, right?
Right.
So, how was your week?
Eventful, I would say.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so as we were hanging out and doing our usual weekday thing, turns out I was eligible to get vaccinated, and that's what I did on Friday.
Mazel
Yay!
tov! Congratulations!
Yay! In 28 days, I will be fully inoculated. Yay! It was honestly kind of apocalyptic in a way. But just well, like you I went to a it was an unfinished hospital building, so it was just
Oh,
the concrete and the walls. It was an expansion for my primary care networks hospital, and they
yikes!
just had
If you see dead inside, do not
right.
open.
It felt like The Walking Dead, and they had a bunch of folding tables set up, and you would just come in, fill out a form, sit, go get stuck, sit for 15 minutes, and then you leave. And it was constantly people leaving and doing that same
Mm,
thing. But I got the Johnson and Johnson one, so I'm the one and
one
done.
and done. You're
Yeah.
out.
So I guess now it's safe to start planning trips for after my 28 day
Yes.
period is up. It feels really weird, and also kind of serendipitous in a way because around this same time last year, we came back from Orlando for the Mickey and Minnie opening, and everything closed. So,
It's so weird. This past weekend, there's a lot of, talk about what were you doing 1 year ago today? What were your photos from 1 year ago, this weekend? And I actually got to see my mom for the first time in a year, and
oh wow,
she got her vaccine just about a month ago. So I was able to hug her for the first time in a year, which was pretty great. Looking back at photos from those final couple days when Disney and Universal were opening, were still open before the shutdown. It's just so strange to think that that was a year ago. I don't know
yeah,
whether that seems like too long or too short. It was like 1,000 years and 15 minutes at the
yeah.
same time. Yeah,
It was a whole thing, but it really put this whole past year into perspective for me getting that done. Um,
absolutely. I'm
and
I'm
then
so I'm happy and jealous, and I hope Florida catches up with
yes,
everyone being eligible as soon as possible.
come on. Um, but other than that, I spent the rest of the weekend laid up because of the vaccine.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
and
how you know
then
it's working.
right, that's how you know it's working. And then today I was supposed to go to the junket for the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I got to
Mm.
watch the first episode on Friday,
Oh,
um, and there was a Zoom snafu, and I got into the room right at the end of the Q&A session
oh,
because it didn't start on time, at least not for me. And then I left and was like, oh, maybe it's delayed, and then came back and it let me in right at the
ah.
end. But it's okay. That I We're taking care of it. But it was still cool to see the first episode. I'm really excited to see what they do with it. It feels like it's going to be really heavy, like Blip and the trauma of it heavy.
Okay. So this will be the male equivalent of WandaVision being the female version of like all the grief and angst. This will be
Yeah,
guys crying it out and sharing their feelings.
that would be great. I think it's gonna be really hard for fans of Bucky to see him like get his comeuppance, I guess,
Yeah.
for everything. But they only let me see one episode this time, and if there's anything I've learned, it's that they only give you X number of episodes because something happens that's important.
Uh-huh. Well, I had no spoilers. I don't know anything about the plot. I haven't seen
I
that
won't
first
say
episode. But
anything.
your mention of Bucky getting his comeuppance, there's been a lot of chatter on social media about WandaVision, and Wanda isn't properly punished. Wanda doesn't get what she deserves. I don't hear those same fans saying that Bucky deserves to go to prison for all the people that he assassinated over the years.
Yep.
So some fans seem kind of selective about which heroes they think deserve to be punished and which ones we should just let get away with it. It's
Right?
kind of interesting. I wonder what the difference is between them.
I wonder. It's very interesting to see whose real life crime and punishment applies to fantasy characters when they feel like it.
Right.
But anyway, let's get into
Let's do it.
the news. And first up this week, there is a new place to grab a beverage at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Or
Because
at least
you can never have too many places to grab a beer at Busch Gardens, Tampa.
now, or starting on March 19th for pass members, and then March 26th for everybody else, you can do it with a view.
What looks like a pretty amazing view of some giraffes and other animals on the Serengeti Plain.
Yeah, that sounds
This
kind of awesome.
this looks pretty upscale for Busch Gardens Tampa. This kind of looks like Busch trying to do a Tiffin's. Maybe the food isn't quite at that level, but the bar that's there in Animal Kingdom, it looks like they're kind of shooting for that crowd almost. And they're definitely amazing atmosphere and some interesting craft beer flights available, and vegetarian small plates also, so you can graze while you look at the animals.
Yeah. This is called the Giraffe Bar. And some of the menu items include frozen specialty drinks, cocktails, Florida craft beers, some domestic beers as well, wine and spirits that support wildlife conservation efforts, which I thought was really interesting and unique.
I think as we get closer to the opening of Iron Gwazi, this would be a great place to wait out. Like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're doing a Gwazi watch, you're just hanging out hoping for a soft opening. I think this is the place to bide your time.
We'll see you say that. And now all the bloggers are going to, this is going to be the hangout spot.
Yeah.
But it seems really cool. I'm excited to see it once it's actually open. This is obviously just a rendering if you're here with us on the live show. But it definitely does. That's a great way to describe it. The Tiffins for the Busch Gardens crowd.
That's at least the hint I get from the press release and the concept art. We'll see what it turns out to be in person.
For sure. Next up, we got a look at the new Minion Cafe over at Universal Studios Hollywood, and it's Minions.
Yeah, the food definitely appears quite photogenic. It looks a lot better than the stuff that was served there. This restaurant was also previously a Despicable Me themed quick service location. Never really got traction with its menu. This new menu seems to be emphasizing different kinds of grilled cheese sandwiches served with crinkle cut fries, and they've got some interesting toppings like Mexican cheese, or I think there's one that's got a fruit barbecue sauce with pulled pork.
Yes. Banana
barbecue sauce, of course, because it's Minions, so
Yeah.
you got to have bananas in there somewhere. The one that I'm really looking forward to trying is they've got a pork ramen, And I am of the opinion that there is not nearly enough ramen in theme parks in this
Thank
country.
you.
Like the Epcot, that's pretty much the only place where you can get a bowl of ramen, at least that I can think of in the major parks. So this is that is probably what I'm going to order next time I go, especially if
Also,
it's a cold time of the year.
Despicable Ramen.
Oh
Come
yeah, we've
on.
got lots of terrible puns and references to characters from the Despicable Me movies. I'm also, of course, there's going to be some fun theming inside there. Probably, nothing too elaborate. There's no animatronics or anything, as far as I know, but definitely some fun signage and lots of references to everyone's favorite minions.
You know what would be neat? I'm sure they did not do this, but what if they took Toad's Cafe from Super Nintendo
Mm.
and did that, but with minions so that you could see via screens the minions making your food
Oh, that
in the
would be
kitchen?
awesome. That would be fantastic. Well, I always said that that's what the Muppet Pizza place, the Pizza Rizzo, should have been.
Yes.
So good to see.
Yeah.
Universal did that out. Hopefully, we will be seeing that coming to Hollywood and also Universal
Yeah.
when Super Nintendo World, which we might be talking about a little later.
Yeah, a little later. If you have not been able to head over to Universal Orlando for Mardi Gras, you're in luck because they just added 2 extra weeks onto the end of the festival.
I'm so happy because I need more time to eat my way around this. I just finished off my first tasting lanyard with 15 items, and I'd say pretty much everything I've tried so far was really quite good. The last one I tried was the Canadian short rib poutine,
Ooh.
and I gotta say it's first of all it's a lot cheaper. It's like half the price of the poutine that they have at Refreshment Port at Epcot, and I thought it was great. I it comes there's a whiskey punch that they pair with it,
Ooh.
a Sugar Shack punch that was really tasty, and really everything I've had has been a really good value at this event. So I'm looking forward to it. The good times rolling for a few more weeks.
Yeah, so you have until April 11th to go hang out and stuff your face. Do it for me because I love Cajun food and I have to wait 28 days before I feel comfortable going anywhere. Some unfortunate news, though not really unexpected. Disneyland Paris has announced that their planned opening on April 2nd is no more due to everything happening over there related to COVID-19. They
This
are postponing their reopening
this
again.
park cannot catch a break.
Mm-mm.
I feel like it has had openings and closings and false starts more than any other Disney park. I feel like every few weeks there's another announcement about a delay or a reclosure. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Them in
it's
Hong
sad.
Kong.
Yeah, yeah. Hong Kong seems appears to have been kind of settled down now that it's back open. It seems to be a little more consistent, but yeah. Hopefully, before the end of this year, vaccination rates will be consistent enough across Europe that Disneyland Paris can open back up. But right now, it's anyone's guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you had booked an early April trip out there, hoping that they were going to be open, talk to your travel agent now.
Yeah. At least they said on the earnings call the other day that it's still getting the expansions planned.
Yep,
So
yep.
positive silver lining there. Over at Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, we have started to see the first appearance of the 50th anniversary decor.
I think it looks great. This, iridescent um, paint scheme that's kind of a little gold, a little blue. I think it looks a lot classier than some of the other anniversary paint schemes that they've gone with in the past. So I'm perfectly happy with it. But I think it kind of says something about how scaled back the announced 50th anniversary stuff has become, that we ooh and ah over a single, banner being hung up. Like, we should be talking about big new fireworks shows and lots of attractions opening, and instead we're just like hungry for any crumb that says that we can look forward to a big party by the end of this year. It is what it is, but
Yeah. I
I,
mean, I think it'll look really pretty when it's all
I think
done.
it'll be great when it's all done. I'm actually more interested in more than the stuff that they slap on, which will ultimately be temporary. I'm a little more interested in this refurbishment that's going on to the castle forecourt stage. Because it looks
Yeah.
like a lot more than just a repainting. It looks like they're, pouring new cement. They're doing some infrastructure work to this thing. I, don't know exactly what's going to happen. They certainly have not announced a new show for that stage. But I would say if you're going to be doing socially distanced outdoor performances, that would be a great spot to start doing them.
Hmm.
And I can't wait for more live entertainment to come back to the Magic Kingdom. So I'm glad to see they're still at least investing in that stage. Obviously, they've got some plans for it.
Yeah. Since the 50th seems like it's going to be kind of low key in comparison to all the things that everyone dreamed up in their heads.
Well, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff that was, if you go back to a couple D23s ago, there's a lot of stuff that we thought would be appearing for the 50th, and some of it will appear during the 50th, as long as you believe that a year lasts 18 months and then maybe a little more. Um, it'll all come, or well, not all. Sorry, Mary Poppins, but it'll mostly come
Aw.
eventually. Eventually.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Speaking of eventually, Super Nintendo World has a new opening date.
Yes, this is exciting. March 18th is the official grand opening of Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Japan. There have been lots of previews. In fact, if you go on our YouTube channel, you can find some amazing videos. I know you don't want to spoil yourself, but let's face it, if you live in America, it's probably going to be a while before you can get over to Japan. So go ahead and watch it, because I think that even the videos, as good as they are, cannot compare to what being in this land for real is going to be like.
Yep. I'm just foaming at the mouth. I want to go and eat all the food and buy stuff and look at the toads making my meal in the kitchen
I
windows. I just,
I want to play all the interactive stuff. I want to look through the telescope and look for Pikmin.
yep.
The rides, great. I think the rides are going to be fantastic, but it's just soaking up that atmosphere. It's just
Yeah.
being inside that video game world. That's what I can't wait for. And yeah, I believe that Japan is still very restrictive about travel. So
Hmm.
you don't think that you're gonna hop on a plane tomorrow. And even once it does, open up, they are using a entry ticket system where you are not going to be guaranteed admission to Super Nintendo World. They're going to, restrict capacity. So, make sure when you do make that trip over, you really read up on what kind of operations are going on at that time. Because you might be disappointed if you fly a long way and can't get in.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, we were funny that you talk about it like that because Josh and I were just talking about how we want to plan a trip to Japan once it is
hmm
like once we're allowed to
I've
go.
I've
But
been talking about it for years for my 50th birthday, and I feel like after we lived through this past year, I want to make it happen.
you've earned it.
Yeah,
You should
we
do it.
survived.
Yeah, right? I want to go,
But I tell you, I think that we will be seeing Super Nintendo in Orlando before we see Mary Poppins.
Ugh.
The construction's restarted on Epic Universe, and they have officially reconfirmed that Super Nintendo is still part of that project. And I'm betting that you're going to see that before 2025 is over. So maybe even sooner. Who knows?
I mean, if that means that I can just hop on a plane to Orlando and check it out,
Yep.
I would do that too.
Yep. It's going to be a couple years behind what we originally hoped for, but not that
Hmm.
many years.
I can wait.
Yeah. Or hey, in Hollywood, you're not that far from Hollywood,
Right?
and they
Yeah.
are more than halfway done out there. So I think it's not going to open this year, but I think there's a great chance that that opens in 2022 and really kickstarts tourism back in California next year.
I was just looking at photos of that one today.
Yep.
Yeah. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure got a grand opening date during the Disney annual investors meeting call.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this date, and I think a lot of people were kind of surprised
The,
by how far in the future it is.
yeah, it felt like a big eye roll because they're like, of course, they're going to open it on the 50th anniversary and in a new financial quarter, so
Yeah.
it'll bump up their numbers.
Yes, on the one hand, there's a symbolic and sentimental importance to the October 1st date because that is the 50th anniversary of the resort. There's also a big financial, they it implies that the executives at this point are kind of like, all right, we gave up on 2020 and 2021's kind of a wash. We're just putting everything into the financial year 2022, which starts on October 1st. And it basically means that they want their numbers to look really good for next year so that they all get bonuses for their year over year numbers increasing. I mean, that's the cynical way of looking at it. I know there are plenty of people who think that's the smart way of looking at it. Um, I like to think that October 1st is maybe because they want to make sure that enough people have been vaccinated by the mid
True.
late fall that they can handle the crowds because obviously this attraction it's got a really adorable interior queue where you sort of go through Paris rooftops at night,
Oh.
assuming that it's similar to the one that is in Paris, which I've been on.
Hmm.
But it's not a high capacity interior queue, and they're not doing fast pass and stuff right now. So unless they want to start doing Rise of the Resistance boarding passes for this attraction, maybe they want to hold off until they feel like they can do a little less social distancing safely and increase the capacity of the attraction up to what it was designed to be. That's
Yeah.
that's a charitable explanation, and I'm betting that by late summer. We might see some soft opens or annual pass holder previews or something. I can't imagine that Disney is going to want to sit and watch Universal have Velocicoaster running all summer long and have all that great press and hype and not want to do something to kind of undercut it and get a little attention back on them.
Yeah.
So my guess is that I'm going to be riding that before October 1st, but if not, hopefully I will be able to get a park pass reservation for one of those parks and hop over there.
Right? You'll also have to go to Le Crêperie de Paris and get a snack.
Yes, and when I can finally get in there, we got to do a head to head, the new Epcot Creperie versus Universal's.
Yeah.
Which two crepes enter, one crepe leaves.
I just want to see you with like a wrestler face on holding the two crepes. Like, I will have to do it. That's a
Absolutely,
video waiting to happen.
absolutely. We'll get Matt to fund that. We'll get a whole crew and everything.
Yeah, if you're listening, we have a video idea to pitch you. This was a surprise. Coming soon, Disney Magic Mobile replacing Magic Bands everywhere. Not really, but for some people,
It's
yeah.
yet another alternative to the Magic Bands, which are no longer being distributed free to hotel guests, but are still available for purchase. And if you've already got one that's battery hasn't died yet, still perfectly good. Hang on to it. But yeah, for those of us who just like are attached to our phone, especially a modern iPhone, this is one last thing that we'll have to carry through the parks. I think the really interesting thing, they haven't explained exactly what technology it's using, but from the details, I am thinking that this is you're not going to have to use a Touch ID or a Face ID, which involves a passcode. You're merely going to have to hold up your phone near a touch point, like the entry of the parks, and it should instantly read without you having to confirm anything. If that's true, that's one of the few things that Apple has allowed to do that on the iPhone. I think like subway passes in New York City are one of the only
Hmm.
other things that they've. It's like a transit pass system. It uses the NFC technology, I believe. Yeah, it's usually you have to confirm that with a Face ID or a finger ID. But if they make that so you can just wave your phone or your Apple Watch if you happen to have an Apple Watch, that'll for me that's great. It's one less thing I have to remember to strap on when I head out to the parks.
Yeah, and especially for Apple Watch users, it's really
Oh yeah,
cumbersome if you wear both on your
totally.
left
Yes,
hand. And this just takes one thing out of the
one
equation.
one less thing to worry about. Yep. And this does not, as far as we know, replace the system that they already have for key cards for using an electronic key to access your room. But eventually this will probably be all merged into one, and then will it be implanted under your skin. I'm sure Bill Gates is working on that right now.
Someone's already done
That
that.
that was that was sarcastic. That was not for real. No.
We do not condone such
We do
behavior.
not endorse conspiracy theories.
I mean, they do have the digital key feature on your phone already. They have mobile ordering
Hmm.
and contactless payment. Now they have Magic Mobile.
Hmm.
I feel like eventually all of our interactions and transactions with Disney is just going to be through our phones. No more magic bands, no more uh, third party things.
If they can just get a version of this app for my Oculus Quest, I never have to go to the park at all. I just
Well, there you
strap
go.
on the VR and I'm just there.
I wonder what that annual pass would cost.
Probably not that much less than the real one. They'd
Hmm.
find a way.
They'd charge you more.
With all the in-app purchases for your
Yep.
avatar,
You would have to.
buying virtual digital T-shirts and other things. Yeah.
He'll come with like an oxygen thing that will pump smells
All right,
of
we
the
got to
park.
stop before we give them ideas. They're furiously taking notes. They're going to copyright and monetize all this tomorrow.
And we're not going to get a dime.
Nope, never.
And before we go to, well, actually, we just have the main attraction. I don't know what I was saying there. My brain just kind
Let's
of
do
took.
it.
My brain took the wheel. Um, da
My
da
brain took a hike,
da.
so.
Disneyland is reopening.
Hallelujah.
I thought this
Finally.
day would never
Angels
come.
singing, bells ringing. Now, we know late April, according to CEO Bob Chapek, which is
Yeah.
the more information than we've had in a whole year. So fantastic. We do not have an actual date yet. If you saw a actual date going around on social media, you were lied to. I think there were some faked, photoshopped images going around. All we know is late April, and we don't know yet, how they're going to open the parks, if it's going to be staggered, exactly which hotels are going to be open. But we just know that by the end of the month, someone is going to be going and riding a ride in Disneyland, and that's pretty freaking great.
Yeah, I was so excited when the initial state of California news came out. And I certainly didn't expect Disneyland to be like, "Yep, April 1st, we're
Hmm.
opening back up."
Yeah.
But I would hope it's not like April 30th, though knowing Disney, it could very well be.
Disclaimer, this is all still contingent on them hitting their numbers in terms of getting into the proper tier, maintaining, keeping their contagion, their positivity rates under a certain level. You
Yes.
can look up all of the details on exactly what numbers they need to hit. But originally, it sounded like they would have to open at 15% capacity.
Hmm.
Now it's looking like they might be able to open closer to 25% capacity. And I think with 15%, they would have no indoor dining. With 25% capacity, they would be able to have some indoor dining. Still, so we still don't know exactly, what they're going to be able to do, but they're going to be able to do something. As long as all the trends keep moving in the same direction that they are,
Yeah.
which is great. My gut is telling me that in terms of hotels, that the Grand Californian and the Paradise Pier will reopen, but not the Disneyland Hotel, because there's a big honking security fence that has kind of cut the Disneyland Hotel off from the rest of the property.
Oh
It's something
no.
it's something they could take back down, but they seem to have spent a little time and effort putting it up. So that might indicate that they think that they're going to start with just two of the hotels. And honestly, with 25% capacity, they could almost fill up those parks with the hotels guests if
Yeah.
they had those hotels at capacity. And plus, you gotta you gotta figure in all of those other mom and pop hotels in the area. How many of them are going to be able to afford to reopen if out of state guests are restricted, as the
Yeah.
initial guidelines have said. The initial guidance that came out said that you will have to be a state of California resident to either purchase tickets or use tickets. That's, I don't think, entirely clear. And the enforcement method was also not entirely clear. If you've got a friend who lives in California who might be able to buy you tickets, I don't know if that's going to work out or not. It's all a big question mark right now.
Yeah, because we
Um,
talked about that. We have friends in California, and we were
yeah,
like, flights are like $60.
yeah,
What? What are they going to check our IDs at the gate when they scan the tickets in and take a
exactly.
picture of your face?
Exactly. We do know
Yeah.
there in addition to all annual passes have been canceled, so you're going to have to buy a ticket, and that will probably almost certainly be a date-specific ticket. And even if they do have multi-day tickets, there's going to be a park pass reservation system like they have in Walt Disney World. So it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be tourist friendly. They're going to be starting small and slow. If you are one of the lucky few who gets into that park, it's going to be heaven. Because, Disneyland with only 15 or 25% of the norm, the maximum number of people would be like, a private party. That sounds amazing. Don't, I wouldn't go necessarily booking your flight right now until a little more information about who can go in and when is released.
Yeah. Um, the Bob said during the call that we should expect some news in the coming weeks. But that is as vague as it could possibly get. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're already halfway through March by the
Yeah.
time that you're listening to this. So,
If nothing else, there's a lot of employees who have been furloughed who need to be reactivated, retrained. There's costumes to be cleaned. There's, rides that need to be cycled back up and retested and all, they've been keeping the lights on, but, it's a big machine and it takes a while to get that engine running again. So,
hmm
if you do happen to be one of those people who is lucky enough to get there on the opening day of Disneyland, please don't do a blog about how everything is terrible and it's not the same as you remember it. Be patient with the cast members. They've been through a lot. It's gonna take time. It's not gonna be normal. It wasn't normal right away at Walt Disney World. It still isn't normal. Don't be a jerk and go out there and just poop all over the magic if you are lucky enough to get back in there, please.
I feel like that quote needs to go somewhere. Don't be a jerk and poop all over the magic.
You know, honest feedback is one thing, but
Yeah.
you gotta have reasonable expectations when we're coming back after a year after a pandemic. You
hmm
know,
Yeah. And you don't know what every cast member's individual year has been like, to have them coming back to
absolutely,
work.
absolutely. Can you imagine? I'm sure there are some people who are psychologically prepared to put on a big smile and wave hello to everyone, and there's some people who have just been clinging on to dear life with their fingernails. And so I don't be mean to these cast
Yeah.
members when you go out, please. Be grateful. Be
Be
great.
nice.
If you're one of the chosen few, be grateful.
Yeah. Or we're going to be very disappointed in you. And that's the worst.
And I that's the worst.
That is the worst. And that one would always give me too, more than any kind of like grounding, just
Mm-hmm.
the
The
disappointed.
disappointment. Oh,
Ugh. And before we go, you guys listened to me last week, and we have some listener thank yous to
Yes,
share.
thank you.
Quite a few, actually. I wonder
Awesome.
if we did this or if the timing was just a
It's all
little
you.
delayed.
It's all you, and you should get a cut.
Matt, I'm just kidding. Big. Well, if you didn't know, Attractions Magazine has a 4-tier subscription service, and if you pick the club or VIP tiers, the week after you subscribe, we send you a shout out on the Attractions podcast.
Shout.
I'm not going to be physically shouting, but symbolic shouting and applause goes to Mike Blakesley, Stephen Hank, Don Snow, Robin, Don Jones, and Terry Davis. Thank you so much.
Yay! Kermit the
Ooh.
arm wave. Yay! Kermit the frog arm wave. Yay!
Oh
my god, he's so adorable.
It's my Kermit Nuemo, everyone. I caved into the fad.
Introduce everyone to your new friend.
Hello, everybody. I really love them. I thought they were kind of cheesy, and then I bought one to make tiny Super Yaki shirts for him, and now I love him. So I'm part of the Nuemo Trash family now. And if you are interested, our spring 2021 issue is now available for pre-order.
Ooh, I just finished the winter issue. I was savoring it.
Nice.
Because you had several good articles in there, and I didn't want to, blow through them all at once.
It's like a fine 10, 11 course meal. But if you're interested, you can pick that up at attractionsmagazine.com/store. And the cover story is all about Super Nintendo World.
Yay. Lots of great pictures.
Mm-hmm. There's also the digital subscription option available if you prefer to read your magazines and news on an iPad or an iPhone or whatever technological thingy mabob that you prefer to use.
Save a dead tree. I appreciate that.
Yeah, save a dead tree. I thought you were going to do the 5-star thing.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. See, we need to write in the script who says what, because I always jump in and I feel bad. Like, oh wait, I wasn't supposed to jump in. I should let her say it. So can that be my bit from now on?
Do you want that to be your thing?
That will be my bit, and I will just have to pay attention because by the time we get to this part of the show, to be honest, I'm starting to tune it out. I'm just waiting to hear you ask me what my social media stuff is. Yeah, absolutely. So if you love this show as much as we love doing the show for you, please let others know about it by first believe that iTunes is changing the terminology to follow because people thought that subscribing means they have to pay for it. So you don't have to pay, totally free. Tell your friends by subscribing, following, and most importantly, giving us, please, a 5-star review. That helps the algorithm get us in front of more eyeballs and earballs. Earballs? I don't know.
Holes?
Ear holes. Okay.
Ear holes.
That sounds a little,
I mean, it all sounds.
Let's move along. Let's move along.
Now that we've sufficiently embarrassed ourselves.
I've never sufficiently embarrassed myself. Trust me, I can keep going.
So if you would tell everyone where they can find you on the interwebs.
If you really want, you can visit me on Twitter and Instagram at skubersky or at the UG series, but more importantly, pick up a copy of the Unofficial Guide to Universal Orlando 2021 at theunofficialguides.com.
Do it. And you can find me at Brittany Tuttle. That's BrittaniTuttle. That's spelled funny on Twitter and Instagram. Also, every single day at attractionsmagazine.com, at Attractions on Twitter, at Attractions Magazine on Instagram, and youtube.com/attractionsmagazine, where you've been watching this episode and saw us fumble the end there. Hashtag earballs.
Hey, it might have been clumsy, but at least it was short. We're like, a tight 44 minutes. This is a good one.
We're a well-oiled machine.
Yep.
And until next week, I hope you guys stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and have fun. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.